Yo, 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 it's your boy Marcus, and it's not Monday, but tonight is a very special night of Marcus in the Man Cave because I have a very special guest who is very timely because there's a lot going on right now with this economy. And one of the big stories this month was the closing of Spirit Airlines. So I have someone here who can give you firsthand knowledge on that. But before I get to that, I have to have a little time to talk about our sponsor, which is Combat Chow. Now, y'all know I've been talking about this dog food for a long time because my dog loves this dog food. It's not even just dog food, they're treats, but they are all natural treats, 100% natural. No fillers, none of that, extra, cornmeal and all that stuff in it. It's just pure 100% protein. You have chicken, you have a beef lungs, tactical twists. You have you can these pork ears that my dog loves. They call squeal team chews. They're just pig ears, and he can't get enough of them. He will not touch his old treats. And y'all know here that I say I will never promote something that I don't use. So I want to be honest with that. Here's my guy. This is my dog Regal, and he absolutely loves Combat Child. Now, don't look at his face. He does look like he's scared of the camera. That's because he is. He's scared of everything. But one thing he's not scared of is when he hears the treat bag open and he knows it's Combat Child. Loves them to death. He can't get enough of them. Really, that face is just asking me when the picture is going to be done and can he just have the treats now. So I wanted you to go ahead, search up Combat Chow. You can Google it. It's the first thing that comes up, and buy yourself some treats. It's only like $20 a bag, and you spend more than that on stuff you don't even use. So definitely take the time to go check them out. It's a beautiful Black woman that owns this business. She started it from the ground up, and I'm so proud of her. So make sure you support. Go to combatchow.com. Get yourself some Combat Chow. With that being said, I mentioned it in my Monday show that people were going too hard on this whole Spirit airline and the jokes, and that the jokes weren't funny anymore. The jokes aren't funny because I happen to know people who work for Spirit. Spirit helped me out when my father died. They were the only airline who would give me a ticket that was well beneath the price. They gave me a ticket all the way home for $35. Like the only airline that did that, and didn't make me pay for the return flight either. So I have a soft spot for Spirit. And there was all the jokes about Spirit being ghetto and all of those things. I never really cared much for those jokes. There were some funny ones, but in their whole 33, 34 years of aviation service, never had one fatal accident. The other airlines can't say that. And so you can say it was painted like caution tape and all you want, but they had a great track record. And it's sad to see that option go. So with us tonight, I have my friend Ashley, who was a Spirit flight attendant. So everybody, welcome to the show, Ashley. There you go.
Howdy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight, Marcus. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you for being here. I know it's not an easy thing to do is talk about, in a sense, not having a job anymore.
Right.
Something that you rely on, but I'm very excited to have you here. I'm thankful that you're taking this time out with us.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Of course, of course. So, do you want to tell everybody where you're from first? So maybe in case they say, "Oh, she got an
Sure,
accent or something."
absolutely. Yeah. So just a little background on me. My name is Ashley. I am now officially a former Spirit flight attendant. I am officially from Northern California, Oakland, California to be exact. But I now reside in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've
Okay.
been in Las Vegas for 18 years. This past week made my 18th anniversary living as a Nevada resident. So, little background
Nice.
on me. Uh, I guess Cali Vegas girl here, and yeah, that's just
Awesome.
history.
Are you a Kendrick fan?
I love Kendrick. I love Kendrick Lamar, of course, absolutely. I feel like I'm a Cali mutt because I was born in Southern California, Long Beach, California to be exact, and then I moved up and down California my whole life. So I feel like I'm like a Cali mutt. So definitely SoCo girl, and also our Northern California girl as well. So there's that.
Hey,
But love.
Combat Child. I see y'all joined us. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. We love y'all. Okay, so wait, before I move on, sorry. Drake fan
Yes.
too, or just
Say that again.
Drake
The
fan
Drake.
too?
Oh, I love Drake. Of course, I gotta love Drake. That's my Scorpion brethren. So absolutely, I'm in the middle. I feel like I'm conflicted. I love them both. Great
Oh,
artist. Great
okay,
artist.
okay. Enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get into what we're
Yeah.
here to talk about. We're here to talk about Spirit Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, something that I've watched you post about all the time with the
Mm-hmm.
little bumblebee emoji.
Mm-hmm.
I always know when y'all are doing something because I follow your posts. So when they stopped operations on the second, you were the first person I thought about. I was like, oh, this is awful. And I was in the airport actually when I found out,
Oh man.
heading on my way here to San Antonio. So I was like, I can't imagine. One, my first thought selfishly was, oh man, all these people that are here right now
Mm-hmm.
just lined up trying to get flights. And I'm like, that's going to be a big inconvenience. But then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what about the employees? Like,
Right.
who are just without a job? The people that don't have flights, they'll get flights home eventually. They'll find a way home. But these people
Mm-hmm.
have lost their livelihood. 17,000 people without a job.
19,000.
You said
Yeah.
19?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So the
19,000
number
or
was off.
less. No, I mean it's fine. I mean it's close enough. Yeah, it was a mass layoff for sure. 19,000 of us were impacted on May the 2nd, a
Yeah.
few weeks
So
ago.
can you tell me, for one, what made you want to become a flight attendant? And then two, why did you choose Spirit?
So, what made me want to become a flight attendant? At the time, I was about 25 years old and I was just tired of retail life at the time. I had just finished college not too long after, and I had met this Spirit flight attendant, and she was talking to me about flying, and she looked so pretty and glamorous. And I just know with my personality, I love to always be on the go. Traveling has always been a huge part of my heart and a part of me in general. And I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to take advantage of. And it just never left my mind. I wanted to become a flight attendant since I was 25. And over the years, life kind of got in the way. I ended up getting jobs here and there, got really heavy into corporate, and I let the idea get away from me. But then I was just sitting at my last job prior to Spirit, and I have ADHD. Like I got to be on the go. I like to move. I like to just be about. And it came back to me to pursue my dreams as being a flight attendant. So I applied to all airlines that I could think of, and Spirit was the first airline to get back to me. And I went through the process of applying, and they gave me my yes. They gave me my opportunity. They gave me my wings, and the rest was history. And that's how I became a Spirit flight attendant. And I was there ever since. And
So it was like it was kind of meant to be. Like you
it
saw a
was meant
Spirit flight
to
attendant,
be. It
and then
was
they were
meant
the
to
ones that reached
be.
out.
It was so funny because when I met her, we kept in touch throughout the years, and she would always tell me she would keep her ear to the ground for me if there's any opportunities to apply, and I would. And again, life got in the way, and I kind of just put it to the back burner because I was so heavily involved with corporate life at the time, and the money was great, and I was scared to leave that stability to take a chance to become a flight attendant, but I just knew that I wasn't destined to be stuck to a desk my whole life. And it was just, I feel like I just gravitated towards it like it was calling me. So when the opportunity arrived, she gave me a call and said, "Hey, applications are opening up. Make sure you have your passport, your resume is up to date, be ready to go." And I did. I ran with it and I applied. And of course, I applied everywhere else that I could, but Spirit said yes. And I took advantage, and the rest was history. And I'm so glad they said yes. And it was home. It was home for me at that point.
Awesome, awesome. And first of all, we want to thank you too for wearing the uniform.
Of course.
I have to ask. It looks amazing. I have to ask though, how does it feel putting it on, knowing that it's not going to be used for duty again? How does that feel right now?
Today I was excited. I was excited to take it out of the closet and to see it and to put it on. It gave me a little bit of joy and excitement, but quickly I was just kind of reminded of, even though I was given an opportunity to put it on for you guys tonight, I just know that it just was a reminder of what's no longer in existence. And then the sadness kind of crept in, and I was so proud to wear my uniform. I got the opportunity to wear it for 7 years, and it's near and dear to me. So it barely fits now, but I'm happy to be in it. It brought me so much joy. So it's
I'm
been a
Jesse 2010 2010 gives you a hug. They sent you a hug.
thank you. I'm gonna do
Um,
a little double tap. That's what we do at Spirit. We always like double tap our wings. It means like love.
oh,
So
okay.
double
Well,
tap.
double
Thank
taps. Double
you.
tap. Thanks for all the people joining. What's up, John? I see you, man. Um, but okay, so I gotta ask, how have you felt as a Spirit flight attendant? I know Spirit has just been in a state of fluctuation. Like
Hmm.
those of us in aviation who watch airlines, who watch what is going on, it was kind of like watching a boxer getting punched, but
Hmm.
somehow just always beating the count. Like he
Hmm.
never gets knocked out, just beating the count. So it was kind of like, how is Spirit gonna get out of this one? It's like first they
Right.
were supposed to merge, and then the merger didn't
Right.
happen, and then it was like, oh, Spirit's giving out these travel things, like bringing out all the deals. You're like, oh, Spirit
There's
must be doing
always
fine.
something.
Like, but it's always been turbulent. It's always felt
Hmm.
turbulent. But the people at Spirit have always just seemed like they've been in love with the airline. So,
Hmm.
how were you feeling during those times? Did you just feel like Spirit was always going to make it because they were too tough to die, or what was it?
Well, it was always times of uncertainty. I came in at a time where right before COVID had happened. So I started in the fall of 2019 and it was really exciting. And we were told we are going to have this really great opportunity to do a lot of flying. We were going to gear up for spring and summer travel, and the world was going to be our oyster. And then COVID happened and everything stopped. And we were definitely risking being laid off and furloughed because everything that we knew in aviation just came to a halt. And it was really scary. And throughout the years, I feel like I have really witnessed the face of just adversity with Spirit and persevering through all the struggles we've overcome. I really do believe that they were the little engine that could, because every time you turn around, there was that uncertainty, but we always persevered through it. So, I think we almost just got a little too comfortable with thinking we would just pull through, and there would always be that uncertainty, and the rumors would go about us going under and going out of business. But we really were that we were that kid at that point that had 9 lives, and we didn't see it happening. We didn't know it was going to happen. So
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
it's
So,
really.
like, where were you personally, like where when you found out? Because I'd seen your post that you were like you were kind of signaling that it was something was happening, like
Oh my God.
everybody
Yeah.
was hoping against hope. I have another friend who's a Spirit flight attendant, and he was saying the same. He was like, looks bad, but we've gotten out of tougher like kind of situation. So
Right.
I'm like, so where were you, and what was your first emotion when you found out?
Well, I think that day it just felt a little different. It was different from most than what we've normally experienced about the rumors. Because normally our company would shoot out an email saying, "Hey, we hear and see the rumors. It's ignore it. Just show up for your people, show up for your coworkers, show up for the passengers.
Mhm.
Just put on a good face and just show up to work. We're on track to come out of this thing. Just ignore the rumors."
Amen.
And that day, it felt different. But for me, I unfortunately at that time I was dealing with the passing of my nephew, so I really couldn't mentally deal with the fallout of what was happening with Spirit in real time. But I think what it was there was a definite time which was really strange. There was reports coming out the whole day saying, "Oh, Spirit's going to go under at this time, and this is going to happen," which was unusual because that had never happened before. We were used to the rumors, but this just felt a little definite. So, off of me coming to dealing with the passing of my nephew, that night I actually had to go home and pack a bag. I was one of the fortunate ones at the time. I happened to be home in my city because I had just came off of a trip the night prior. So I was home dealing with the passing of my nephew, handling my sister and being there for her, and then having to leave her and go home to get all my things ready for my flight. And the following morning, which was the first, I was scheduled to work or start a trip at 6 o'clock that morning. So I'm getting the emails and the phone calls, and people are asking me questions, and it felt so certain. And after coming home that night, which was around 10:30, one of my former colleagues was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Here's my condolences for your nephew. I'm sorry you're dealing with that loss, but there's an email. I don't know if you want to read it." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, do I not
Why
want to
would you
read it?"
bring it up? You get once you
Right. So
bring
I'm
it up,
like,
you got to read it. Yeah,
right,
like
right. And
yeah.
I'm like, you can't tell someone not to read something. And I'm like, oh God, let me read this. And I got the email and I read it, and it wasn't computing to me what I was reading. It just seemed so unreal. And I read it again, and I felt like I kind of had an out of body experience, and something in me just, I felt like I needed to go to the airport. It was some strange reason. So I grabbed my car keys, I grabbed my purse, I grabbed my lanyard, and something was like, go to the airport, because I needed comfort. I didn't want to be home in my own thoughts. I wanted to be around a familiar face. Something told me to show up and go to the airport. All I know, just show up and be there for someone. I need to see a familiar face. I need something. I need something tangible that I can have and hold and hug and try to just comfort me, and I could be a comfort to other people. So I went to the airport and I went straight to my crew room. I kid you not. I know this is probably strange, but this is a place where I spent the better part of my 6.5, 7 years, something I love. And it was taken from me. So I go to the crew room and I'm just sitting there. I'm like cleaning up everything. I'm rearranging the chairs, and I don't know why I'm doing this. I think grief makes you do strange things. So I went to the place where I found comfort and peace, and there were coworkers that came in, and we sat, we talked, we cried, and I was in that crew room for 6.5 hours. I It was like my mind and my heart weren't agreeing with each other. My body knew I needed to leave, but my heart, I don't want to get emotional, I don't want to cry, but my heart wouldn't let me. So I was just stuck trying to figure out, like, I needed to leave. And then it dawned on me, like, this is going to be my last opportunity in here. When I leave those doors, I'm not coming back. I'm going to be a civilian. I'm done. This is it. I'm not going to come back in here again. So finally, I was able to kind of pry myself out of just being in the crew room. I left and I was going home, and then I got a notification reminding me to check in for my trip because it was 5:45. And I'm like, I'm not going to be on it because there is no more trip. This is it. And it just broke me. I think a lot of us were up. I know I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep for a couple of days. We were all just trying to grapple with the fact that we no longer had a job. All we knew was just, it was over. I mean, this email literally told us that our benefits were going to be canceled or ending. We were no longer gonna have access with our badge to give us access to security checkpoints anymore. We were told to pull all of our pay stubs as quickly as possible because anything Spirit related we would no longer have access to. It was just a blur. I just couldn't
So,
comprehend.
so how do you feel towards the management of the company since they could have seen this coming, but it seems like they kind of just was like, here you go, and ran out of the room, like kind of like they didn't want to face it with you.
I feel like I'm kind of in a gray area with it because this has happened before with other major airlines like Pan Am, where it's just like a sudden
Mhm.
shutdown. And I think what happened here was there was really, I don't think, it's really hard to say, is there a right way to go about the shutdown? Because how do you tell thousands of people that their jobs are ending? You don't want to cause panic. You don't want there to be a, a moment where somebody can do something nefarious, or, like, for example, you don't want to deliver that news and then have maybe a pilot that's on the brink of retirement now take this aircraft and use it as a weapon of mass
Yeah,
destruction. You don't want to risk that.
definitely.
You don't want to have a flight attendant who just kind of loses it and wants to harm or put anyone in danger and blow a slide when we are, aviation's first when it comes to being safety oriented. So I don't think there was a way they really could have told us that news. I personally think we've been, the writing was on the wall. Yes. Has it been implied? Yes. But it wasn't like we were told directly, hey, this is what's happening. And I will say personally, for me, we knew that Spirit wasn't in good shape. A lot of us tried to get out as quickly as we could. Some of
Hmm.
us were unfortunate to land on our feet and go elsewhere, whether that was continuing their career in aviation or going to another airline or just quitting as a whole. But people like me, we weren't so lucky. We were there until the end, until the wheels fell off, and we didn't get that luxury to try to get out and plant our feet. We were just completely blindsided. How I feel towards the company, I'm a lot of things. I'm hurt. I'm angry. Um, I'm so many things. I feel blindsided. I feel like we were just kind of discarded.
And that's the way I kind of felt about it. I was like, once the merger didn't go through last year,
Hmm.
I, outside aviator looking in, I was like, oh, this isn't good. I was like, if they can't offset this in some way,
Hmm.
they're not going to make it. And
Hmm.
then I see Spirit putting out these deals. I'm like, okay, maybe they got they got something on the back foot. And I know they were waiting for another bit. They were waiting for a bailout, hoping
Hmm.
that they were going to get a little bit of
Oh,
federal help.
right.
And then we start a war with Iran in a part of the world with the necessary requirements for
Hmm.
jet fuel. Like that's something
Right.
an airline needs. If they can't pay for gas, then
They can't operate.
yeah.
Right.
And I just thought that I was hoping that
Mhm.
the CEO would have come out and said, hey, if this does not happen by this day, we know we're shutting down.
Mhm.
Because to me, I don't believe a shutdown just happens on, oh, we woke up on May 2nd, yeah, we
Doesn't
got to shut down. That's not
it
how that happens.
doesn't. I think
Yeah.
they definitely prepared for it. I do know that Sarah Nielsen, who is the head of our union, which is the AFA, there was a comment where she made saying something along the lines of, God forbid if there's a shutdown, we have things in place where we have agreements with other airlines. Why would you say that if there's not going to be a shutdown? How does that topic even come up?
Yeah.
So there's things like that, and it's so frustrating. I think with Spirit, it was the perfect storm. I think COVID didn't help, fuel pricing surging, of course, having a competition with them, with other airlines taking bits and pieces of what was our business model, structuring into their business models. And then, of course, the DOJ just not honoring the merger with JetBlue, which is something we really needed. And then, of course, the grounding of our fleet. Our whole fleet was Airbuses. So, of course, I don't know if people know this, but there is a company called Pratt and Whitney who saying there was a callback with parts and pieces to our engines that needed to be serviced. So for one plane to be serviced, we were looking at a turnaround of 1 year, and that was definitely going to hurt our revenue. So if we have all these planes that we owned and leased and all these things, it's going to impact operations indefinitely. So there were definitely some things that added to Spirit's demise that people I don't think know. It's easy to see, oh, there were two bankruptcies, but there were things that led up to that
Yeah.
because we were on track to come out of bankruptcy the beginning of summer. I will give credit where it's due. I do think our CEO did the best that he could with the short time he was given with being our CEO. I mean, to take $7 billion and be able to restructure that with Chapter 11 for bankruptcy to try to offset all the debt that we were in to take it to 3 billion. That's huge. He did what he can do it. And from what I do know and understand, they were working with creditors and lenders until the end to make sure they can try to make sure we are okay. But that just wasn't what happened 2 weeks ago. And I'm sad that it didn't.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, when they hear bankruptcy, they just think
Hmm.
that
Oh,
someone's
it's
broke.
over. It's
Yeah,
over.
they just think, oh, you're broke. It just means you have more debt than you have assets to cover it. And as you see with our current president, bankruptcy doesn't always end. End you. You
Right.
can still make it sometimes.
And
But
unfortunately,
it was
we were
stressful.
worth more dead than alive, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Liquidation.
Um, I know there was a lot. I will say the thing I've loved seeing from the Spirit flight attendant is this. First of all, it seems like I'm sure that every office space, everywhere you work, people don't like each other. There's times when people don't like each other.
Hmm.
But it seems like y'all genuinely were like family. Seeing a lot of especially I saw videos from LAX
Hmm.
of them flying a lot of the jets to Arizona to the boneyard,
Hmm.
um, and how you all came together to send off the planes, even
Hmm.
though like maybe the pilots could see you at the end of the road, and maybe they couldn't, focus on the instruments and focus, down the runway.
Mhm.
But the fact that y'all came together in that moment, kind of had like this communal funeral for an airline that, frankly, was as old as I am. It wasn't, one of the, the elder airlines.
I'm older than Spirit.
Yeah, so it's like we wouldn't know it. We wouldn't know it
Hmm.
if you hadn't said it.
Right.
So, I love that sense of a community. It was always funny to me too that people would always have so many jokes about the
Hmm.
Spirit, and it was always the kind of people that fly Spirit and all this stuff. And to me, it was like I think it's amazing that there is an airline that flies people,
Hmm.
that people that would not have access to these flights. I
Right.
think Dominican that I landed in, and I think I was on American or whatever, and a Spirit plane pulled up, and the lady behind me was like, "Oh, they had to fly Spirit," and I'm like, "And they're in the same place we are." Like, what's the joke? Like, and they got here for cheaper. So I don't know what you're laughing at them for. I mean, yes, Spirit came with its nickel and diming,
Hmm.
but if you know what you're paying for and you know what kind of flight you're about to have, like if I'm flying Spirit, I'm not taking a bunch of bags with me. Like I know what I'm getting when I get on.
Right.
So I never really understood the hatred of Spirit. Oh, we got another comment here. I love Spirit. Yeah, I never had a problem with Spirit per se. And now I look at the tickets, I felt like Spirit kept the other airlines honest
They did.
because,
They
well,
did.
if I'm taking a 2 hour flight and I've got a choice between Southwest, who's completely destroyed their own business model by charging for bags now, like your whole thing was
Hmm.
bags fly free. If I'm going to get charged for bags, I might as well, fly the plane with $150 less price on the ticket and just pay for the extra
Right.
bag. But now
Right.
we don't have that, and they can charge what they want. So how did you feel about the joke culture around Spirit? Or did you laugh at some of the jokes? Was it funny, or what did you feel like, man, they really just don't respect us?
I think because Spirit had had such a bad reputation for so long, even when we started doing better, it just, we just couldn't get away from the jokes. We definitely had to have thick skin. And in the beginning of my career with Spirit, it would annoy me because it's like, for every time I would hear, oh, Greyhounds of the Sky, fly Spirit, become a Spirit, I'd be a millionaire, right? But I'm like, you're putting money in my pocket. Not only that, you probably fall in that demographic where you're in that 60% of being, middle middle class and needing that availability to fly to where you need to go. I know that Spirit held a space for a lot of Americans that are middle class and their families to be able to have the affordability and the opportunity to fly to some of these dream destinations like Belize and Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and wherever have you, wherever it was that they were needing to go. If it was for a funeral or a wedding, we gave them that opportunity at a great price, and it helped keep all the airlines honest, and it helped leverage pricing so that way you don't have what you see now, which is a inflation of flights. I had a girlfriend last week with American. She wanted to fly one of her good friends from Los Angeles to Vegas for one day, and a round trip ticket within 24 hours was $700,
And that's a 45
which is
minute flight, really. That's nothing.
exactly,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous versus Spirit that probably would have been maybe 150 or less. So I think people, you never realize what you're gonna miss until it's gone. And
exactly. And we are missing it. I was just looking at tickets recently, and I'm just like, nobody's going anywhere this summer with
oh,
what's going on in Iran and all this stuff. So I'm like, the vacation is going to probably have to be domestic. And
this
then
is
you
just
look at the
the
domestic
beginning of
carriers.
it. I don't people realize how much is going to be impacted. So
Well, it's
I
going to take a while for it to rebound.
think.
The other thing I had a problem with,
Mhm.
there's a cartoon little animated picture. I know you've probably seen it of all the other airlines hugging Spirit.
Oh my God,
Like,
yes.
I didn't like it
Why?
because I feel like those other airlines are probably very happy that Spirit's out the way now because now they don't have to worry about that low pricing anymore. They're like,
Right.
okay, Spirit is dead. Let's
True.
do what we
True.
want to do
I
now
mean,
because we don't have that competition.
it's one less competitor, true, but I will say on the other side of things, the airlines have been really loving towards us. They have really created a space where they have been embracing us with so much love. I know, for example, there is American, Southwest, and United. They have designated special links just for former Spirit employees to even apply to for other opportunities in their airline for jobs. So that's really nice. You don't see that often where other airlines are coming together saying, "Hey, we know you guys are in the bind and we feel so sorry for your loss of the airline. Here's a special link to try to help you get on your feet." So I will give credit where it's due, even though yes, they are competitors. It is nice to have that support with other in multiple airlines.
Uh, so I think a misconception for a lot of people is that
Sure.
she's a flight attendant. A flight attendant, a flight attendant is a flight attendant. She can just go and
Mm,
work for American, or she can just go and work
mm,
for, like, they think that it's just okay. She can't be with that airline anymore, but the other airlines will hire her because she's been a flight attendant. Um, right now, there's a lot of flight attendants from Spirit that are making GoFundmes, and
mhm.
I see the comments under these are like, "She's a flight attendant. She can get another job. There's
Right.
other planes to work for."
Mhm.
What's the truth behind this?
Man, this is the $1 million question. I feel like the truth to it is that a lot of people don't understand. There's a huge misconception about just being able to apply right off the bat to another airline as a flight attendant. People don't know that it's a highly competitive position. It's one of the most sought after positions, and they don't hire often. And when they do hire, you have to make sure you're qualified. And when you apply, you're looking at maybe somewhere from maybe 3 months to 6 months to a year. And that's if you make it through all the processes that are in place to become a flight attendant. You have to apply. You have to hope your resume is up to standard to where they would even consider you to take an assessment. You have to pass the assessment, and then if you do pass the assessment, you have to hope that you get an interview. You have to hope that if you do grade upon an interview with the virtual interview for a recruiter, that you make it to be invited to what's called a face-to-face to interview, and hope that you interview well enough to be invited to training. Excuse me. All those steps can take anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to a year. And then upon even getting an invite to interview, you have to pass training, which is very rigorous. People don't know that you have to quit your job. Training is anywhere from 1 month to 2 months. So you're not getting any type of funding. You're not getting, there's no pay. So you're taking a risk with no pay at all, no income at all, just to attend training to make sure you can try to land your wings with an airline. It's a lot of sacrifice with that people don't understand. Also, I can't take my experience and another one of my former colleagues who was 30 plus years of Spirit. We can't take our experience and go apply for another airline and say, "Hey, I have this experience, pay me what I'm worth." It's not like being a doctor or a nurse where if you lose your job, you can just go elsewhere and those credentials will offset for what you want to be paid at for your value. We are starting over at the bare minimum. We're starting at low pay. For on call. We have no control over our schedule. It's not what people think it is. And I think that's the part that's a huge misconception of just like, oh, you can just go apply. It's there's so much that goes into that people don't know. And it's hard. I'm grieving the loss of having to give up or forcefully walking away worth of 7 years of what I make and now having to start over for half of that. And that's not even going to cover what I'm expecting for it to cover. So it's really hard that people don't know.
We got another comment here. Even Frontier's flights have gone
Mhm.
way up, but now they're boasting that they're the premier low cost airline.
My
I
fear,
Go ahead.
my fear for Frontier is now people are going to rag on them. It's going to be like, oh, who can we put down now? It's going to be Frontier. I just want to say I love my cousins. My heart goes out to them. And
Well, I'm gonna have to rag on Frontier though because they had me messed up, man. They long story short, I had a book bag that they said the first flight it was fine. It was fine for the
mhm,
overhead compartment. For some reason, the connecting flight they were like, no, you have to check that. It's a book bag. They were like, it doesn't fit in the overhead. I'm like, it's the same aircraft as the last one. How does it not
mhm.
fit? This lady gave me a whole fit about it not fitting into the overhead. And then she was like, well, I was gonna go check the bag, and I was like, okay. She was like, let me see your ID, so she could write my name on it, all this stuff. And she saw that I was military, and all of a sudden the bag fit, and it made me feel like
I had to do
I
that.
was somebody strapped for cash on a budget, just trying to get home, and I wasn't military. Would you have done that to me? Now, granted, that's just one airport, one
Mhm.
person. That's not Frontier as a whole, probably, but Frontier had a bad taste in my mouth after that. But
That's
Spirit, they
fair.
never did me that way.
Yeah, that's the hard part of flying ultra low cost carriers, that they will nickel and dime, and then they have the a la carte service. But again,
Mhm.
it's all about just doing your research and making sure you're prepared. I'm sure you were, not to
Yeah.
discredit your experience, because sometimes you just get the wrong gate agent and
Mhm.
they just want to make it difficult for you. But I always encourage people to just do their research, bring a backpack, make sure you pack accordingly, so that way
Yeah.
you don't get to the gate and they're like, oh, it's $99 for you to check your bag. And you're like, whoa, I didn't
Yeah.
prepare for that. So that's the
I
only
think
thing.
the problem with Frontier was that they got caught up by Congress for
Hmm.
incentivizing
Hmm.
the gate agents to charge those extra fees because they
Oh,
were giving kickbacks to the gate agents. And I was like,
hmm.
Spirit would never. And I was like, Spirit would do a lot of things, but that's one thing they have never done. And I
Yeah, I
felt
will
like,
feel like I do think Spirit did have a lot of integrity when it came to that as well. I mean, we fought so hard to maintain and try to keep our customers just being where we were coming from financially. So I think they did their best to do the right thing.
okay, so we've gone through the whole, life cycle of Spirit. Spirit
Hmm.
came into your life. Spirit, became like, it was one of your dreams. You get
Yes.
a job there. You get hit with COVID.
Hmm.
Um, of course, that truncated things a bit because there wasn't a lot of
Yes.
travel going on, and then Spirit falters and it dies. I mean, you get hit twice. Your nephew, which we send our condolences for, by the
Thank
way,
you. Thank you.
and then Spirit at the same time. So you're just trying to grieve. The jets are all flying home. If you have flight aware like me, it was crazy in the last week of seeing the pilots fly them out to Arizona. You just see them
Hmm.
going out there, and you're like, we'll never see that paint scheme again. Like we'll never see, that bright yellow, the flying banana, as people joke and call it. Like we won't see it
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so you said you had mixed emotions, with Spirit, its leadership, and just how you feel. But in this moment, as you reflect and you
Hmm.
put on this uniform again tonight, what
Yes.
what does Spirit mean to you personally?
Spirit meant a lot to me because, again, they were the ones who gave me an opportunity to enter into the aviation world. And it was such an amazing opportunity. Excuse me. It was such an amazing opportunity to become a flight attendant and get to experience a world and create a lifestyle that I would have never dreamt of you know, uh, as a Black woman, just coming through a lot growing up and facing adversity, just being able to touch so many countries because of having the privilege of being a flight attendant. Spirit meant a lot to me and what they gave me, but also more so besides Spirit, it gave me community. It gave me coworkers turned family, and it gave me more than what I ever imagined. And now that that isn't here, I am grieving the loss of that. But I will always be thankful and grateful for Spirit because, again, they gave me my first start into aviation. And now it's something I feel like I can't live without. It's definitely a part of me, it's a part of my identity, and it is a lifestyle that I am learning how to live without. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all that it's giving me. I don't. I don't know how to come to terms with having to say goodbye.
Yeah. Do you regret any of it?
No, I don't
You,
regret choosing Spirit. I don't regret staying with Spirit. It's brought me as far as it could have brought me. It's given me so many tools and access to things and spaces that again, I never thought that I would ever have access to. I don't regret a thing. I don't.
So let's say a little black girl looks
Hmm.
just like you.
Yes.
Uh, she's looking right now. She's seeing everything that's happening, and she's saying, "Well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to be a flight attendant if this is what can happen to me? Like I could lose everything and not even know it's coming."
Hmm.
Um, what would you tell her to encourage her to want to even be a flight attendant? Like, I'm sure you've dealt with rude passengers
Hmm.
and things like
All
that.
right.
And we're going to ask you about that in a second. But
Yeah.
what would you tell that young lady, uh, or even the young man that wants is
Mhm.
thinking about,
Yeah.
being a
Because
flight attendant? Because men do it too
yep,
before
they
they
do.
get it. Yeah, you do it. So what would you tell her uh, in that moment?
I would tell her sky's the limit and the world is her oyster, and to go after what she wants and to do it with no fear and no regrets and embrace it. And if that's something you feel like that is truly a part of you, if it's a part of you feel like if it's a part of your calling and your destiny, then do it. I know I was definitely scared. And when I do see little girls, and especially little black girls that come and look up to me and go, "Oh, I want to be a flight attendant," I can't wait to tell them that you can do it because I did it. And there were people before me who did it, who paved the way for me. So I can do it. And I would leave them with that. I will always leave them with the best words of encouragement to just, let their dreams soar because they can and they have every right to explore those opportunities.
That's amazing. That's beautifully said. I can't say it any better. So before we let you go tonight, before we let you go, you're a flight attendant. So we gotta ask,
Yes.
what is the worst interaction with a passenger you've had? Well, first of all, you're a black lady and a beautiful black lady
Yes.
at that. First of all,
Thank you.
how
Thank
many
you.
of the guys on the jet tried to hit on you? Because we know that happened. So was that
Right.
a thing you had to deal with? And then two, what's the worst interaction that you've had?
Yeah, it comes with the job and the territory. Of course, I would get hit on. I would be so gracious and tell them thank you. And I tell them if you want benefits, you got to marry a flight attendant. Of course, that's how you get in there. But
Definitely.
um, so believe it or not, uh, on to the contrary, what social media shows you with Spear and all the fights, that wasn't a thing that happened often. It was just unfortunate that it was recorded, and we all know that things live on in social media to the end of time. But I can say out of my career working with Spirit, I've only had one really bad interaction where a fight did break out, and it had nothing to do that was even spirit related. It was because of COVID, and it was a time where a lot
The
of
mask.
people, yes, and that's exactly what it resulted from. It was because of the mask, and there was a party that got into it for another party, and it had nothing to do with spirit. I think people forget that we don't raise these people. These people are in control of themselves. We can't tell people how to conduct themselves. And I know that we cater to a certain demographic, but that doesn't mean you show up on an aircraft and you show your tail. You know what I mean? But believe it or not, that was the only bad interaction I had. I mean, I've had some trying times, but nothing as severe as that. And again, that was 2020, right around the election. So people's emotions were just crazy. Times are tense. So
Yeah. Were they actually coming to blows? Were they actually like hitting each other,
it
or
was
was
a
it?
full on it was a
Oh,
full
okay.
on fight. It was to the point where I actually had to move out of the way because I didn't want to get injured. And I'm too pretty to fight. I didn't want to be in the middle of that. And spirit, I'm not trying to go out and go on anybody's workman's comp. I'm like, I need all my coins. Y'all got it. So yeah.
Definitely. So last thing,
Yeah, sure.
we see videos all the time
Hmm.
of people just being obnoxious to flight attendants, just being rude, being you know, acting like they're not human almost, like
Hmm.
they're not people. What is one thing that you want to leave people with when it comes to, flight attendants? Like, what do they need to know about you all that may change their perception? Because a lot of people think that you're just there to make their lives miserable, apparently. And
No, I think the perception is that we're just there to serve a Coke and a smile and peanuts, but it's so much more. Like we really truly are the first responders in the sky when we're 35,000 feet up in the air. And we wear so many hats. I mean, we're therapists, we're referees, we're EMTs. There's so many hats that we have to wear while we're dealing with people, and they forget that. And it can be a little disheartening when people reduce us down to just sky waitresses, because I didn't go through training for 8 weeks just to learn how to serve you peanuts and Cokes. I went to training for 8 weeks to make sure if you are having a heart attack or a seizure that I know how to respond to that, because who else is going to do it while we're in that space? You know, they don't call us first responders and sky heroes for no reason. There's a reason why we wear that hat, and I just wish it was respected and understood more.
I absolutely believe that after this interview, once we let everybody see it, that they will respect you more. Um, I want to thank you again for coming on tonight and giving us the opportunity to talk with someone that we don't really put names to. We just say, "Oh, the flight attendant," but you're Ashley, and you're human, and you have a story. And we pray here that your story goes on, and that you find your way back into the sky, and
Thank you.
that when we do get that Coke, and that we remember that you are a trained professional and you're good at what you do,
Thank
and you
you.
deserve the respect like anybody else
I
does.
appreciate
So,
that. Thank you so much.
of course, with that being said, do you have any last things you want to shout out? Anything you want to say?
I just want to
Uh,
say thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your time. Thank you guys for spending a night with me, getting to know me, and just thank you for the support. Really, thank you for the platform tonight. Couldn't have been more honored to be here.
and when we post this too, we're gonna put some places where you can help support Ashley as well, because
Thank
it's a
you.
trying time, and we don't want to just have someone here and not have something to give back. So,
Thank
uh,
you.
thank you
Everything
so much.
helps. Really, thank you so
Yep.
much.
And that's what we're here for. We're here for help. So, thank you all. Thanks for coming tonight, and we hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
You as well.